Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And it is now time to take a look at Albedo, leader of the Guardians, one of the most hotly requested and highly anticipated units for the Overlord collab that we have ever seen. And it is quite unfortunate that they did not make her as good as she should have been. So, first off, she is space, she is magic, she is on Stern of Spirit, Wholehearted Devotion, and Commander, two of which don't really have teams right now. She uses a Space Hammer, but you do get free gear for her from the bingo board. You do also get a free dupe of her from the character introduction quest, so if you manage to pull her, you can immediately put her up to level 104, which is why mine is at level 104. She is an AoE alt 300%, and then raises allies' attack by 5% for that turn, which is fine. She's an AoE, it doesn't really matter. Her first skill, though. Chance to stun a single target, 100%. Guaranteed stun. And then she gives Stern of Spirit and Wholehearted Devotion characters 40% stun strike for one turn. Now, Stern of Spirit is obviously the Overlord team. And did we need to stun with that team? No. Because by turn 8, we do butt tons of damage. And as I'm going to show you in this science video, Albedo actually hurts the team's damage rather than assists the team damage. So this 40% stun strike is cool if this was 2023 New Year's and it was the Light 3.0 team, because this is what Light Raphael does, is guaranteed stuns and gives certain characters a 40% stun strike. This is a year-old skill, and it's made no improvement. It's still the same multiplier. Like, it couldn't have been like 100%? That would have been maybe a little bit better, but no, it's not. It's 40, so we have to live with it. It's a 55-point skill. Sure, fine, whatever. Her second skill is just the really, really crappy Despair that we've got for Ainz. It's the same exact thing, 5% passive damage on the attack, 5% alt resistance down, except the third effect, instead of giving green gauge protection gauge, like Ainz does, she's giving green orbs alt gauge, which I would argue the team didn't need, but oh well, that's that. Her Valor trait seals defense skills, not really a big deal when everyone who is, really trying hard is running the Light New Year's team, and they don't have defense skills. Her actual trait, when you send 6 hands of greens, you get an extra 10% crit damage. Again, when you pull her, you will have access to this trait because of the free dupe. But let's go ahead and put her on the Overlord team. We're going to do 2 runs with and without Albedo on, roughly the same team, where we just swap her out for somebody else, and we can see the difference in damage that Albedo causes, and not in a good way. Alright, first off, we're on the Overlord team. Rimuru, Nabe, Shizu, Dark Milim for the alt buff and the orb change to go alongside Nabe's orb change, Albedo, and Ainz. So we'll be double stacking Despair now. We'll have the stun strike and the stun, which I guess is fine. It's just that this team didn't really need it, because it's like, he's not killing you by turn 8, so you're not really in danger. You're more in danger if you go to like turn 10 or 12 or something, and then he starts getting his light buff. But if the objective is to nuke turn 8, like most Jubilees are going to be, we didn't really need a stun at all. Like, did we? I don't think we did. But hey, who am I to judge? All right. So double stacking Despair will do it'll do 3 things. It'll stack another 5%. It will stack 10% alt resist down on the enemy because it's 5 per stack, or 5 per usage. It'll do the 5% passive attack, so it'll be 10% of his attack will be done in passive damage. So almost 1,000, not quite 1,000, but almost. Yeah, we can just do this. So orb change, and then we'll bring Nabe back in. We'll get Shizu out of here because we don't really need her for anything until later down the line. Let's do... So we have enough for 2 skills? Yeah. Okay, so let's do this, and then we'll do the protection gauge Despair. because that's going to be more important than getting alt gauge right now, because we don't really need alts on turn 2. We need to make sure we can get stacks of Rimuru, which is more important. So boom, and then we'll just send this. Now we do want Albedo's alt by the time we get to the nuke turn, because she is raising our attack up by 5%, which, you know, isn't the biggest thing in the world, but it does help our damage out. Okay, that would be an unfortunate hand if Nabe didn't have that Stern of Spirit skill change. So here, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. So orb change, despair, and then alt gauge increase on greens, despair, protection gauge on increase, and then we'll bring Shizu in for Nabe, and we'll use her alt swap ability. So there we go. So we're going to get a lot of alt gauge here, because we got 50% alt gauge on greens, we got 50% protection gauge on greens, we've got just a generic 10% increase, we've got 20% skill point increase, we got 40% protection gauge increase from the charm, and we've got 205% skill point increase from Rimuru and Milim combined. So we got a lot coming out right here. The turn 4 trait for Shizu will give us a double stack of Rimuru, so that's going to look really nice. And, I mean, is Albedo helping out? Sure. We did how much damage? 1,499 on 3 stacks. Ooh, fancy. Am I right? So despair, alt swap, and then we'll take Shizu out, I guess, after we... Yeah, we'll take Shizu out so we can bring Nabe in and reset her. Alright, so we'll double stack here, because we're gonna make it all back off this 6-handed green, so there's no point in not holding it. Plus, the 6-handed green would make more than like 1 full protector, so I don't want that little bit extra to go to waste, because it definitely could. So we'll use the special convert again, and then we'll kind of just run it like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we have an Ain's EX alt now, turn 4, which is good. And it also means that maybe in Jubilee you're looking to get like 2 EX alts for Ain's by the time you get to turn 8. That might be the thing you want to do. It might be a little bit difficult to get it in 3 turns, but who knows. Okay, so... Shizu does not have an alt, so we would pull in that other orange. So, despair. And then we will use Nabe's first orb change, right? Yeah, first orb change, boom. We'll get Albedo out of here. And then, yeah, we can do that. So, reset. We'll do the swap, we'll do the orb change with Nabe, and that'll give us another full 6-handed greens. Alright, so swap, orb change. This is working out pretty good right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, look how much protection gauge we get off of that, just because of how much gauge increase we have. That's really good. Except that, you know, what has Albedo really done for us so far? We could stun right here. Like, definitely, we very well could. Is it necessary, though, when we're not really looking that low on HP? So, orb change, despair. Is there anything else we need to use for Albedo? We got to use 1 stack per despair, but I don't really think that's too much of an issue. So we'll just go ahead and reset these characters. Nabe almost has an EX alt, so that's funny. Let's see. Let's take... Ooh. Actually, we don't have live mode going, so I guess it doesn't really matter that Ain's comes out now, because he's not getting anything out of it. Yeah, let's do this instead. Boom. And then we can just swap these away. We'll use that. We'll swap the alts. I guess we can stun here for funsy onesies, and we can see how much damage we would do normally. Sure, why not? We're going to reset it next turn anyways, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, 13k, 12k, and then Albedo's 200% does 32k. It's like, it's not damage I'm writing home about. by any means, but it's certainly decent, I guess. But it's not incredible amounts of damage. Like, we didn't just wipe out his entire health bar with that one turn because we have Stun Strike. Alright, Ainz will come back up front, but who is he coming back up front for? Nabe only has the one ult, so... yeah, let's do both of her orb changes, so boom, boom. And then Nabe will leave. Perfect. We will reset everyone for the last... Well, actually not the last time, but it is turn 7, so we're going to nuke on turn 8. So Despair, Despair, Alt Swap. So we're up to 11 stacks of Despair, which is just over half of what we could potentially do, because it caps out at 20. So let's do one more stack. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. We may actually get a double stack here because Shizu's up top, is up front now. So that's looking pretty good. All right, counter. Cool, I guess. Dark Millum does need to come in here on the nuke turn so we can get her alt buff and the 25% attack on Ainz. But it's like, okay, so this is going to be very telling, right? Because we're going to do this and we're going to showcase the damage that Albedo does with this team. And then the next clip, we're going to take Albedo out and we're going to put somebody else in. And we're going to compare what Albedo is really doing for this team. So this is the nuke turn. Let's go ahead and Despair, Despair, Stun Strike, the Weakness Strike, and the Alt Buff. Oh, Ainz is sealed. No, because we left him in. All right, we got to go one more turn. All right, that's okay. So 9 turns. Sorry, we're going to go 9 turns. We're just going to waste this turn because he needs to not be sealed. That was unfortunate. Okay, there we go. Now we can do it. So, we can do... Yeah, actually, we can just do double stacks here, because we can reset everything down now. So 1, 2... We could have played like that into a next turn. I don't really care. We didn't gain anything out of it, so when we do this again, I'm going to do it on turn 8, because it's not like we got an extra stack out of it. So, Stun, Despair, Weakness and Alt Resistance down, Crit and Magic buff, more Despair, and then we'll bring Dark Millum in for Shizu, because we're not going to nuke with Shizu. And I really hope Albedo doesn't straight up kill here, but, I mean, I guess it's possible that she does. Alright. So, we have a 70% alt buff on the alt, and then Ainz has 9 stacks, plus the crit damage from Reamer's trait, plus the Stun Strike, Weakness Strike, Guarantee Crit, Magic Attack, and 25% attack from Dark Millum. And then Leon over here has 50% alt resistance down from Shizu, and then 13 stacks of Despair, which is equivalent to 65% alt resistance down. So we're at 115% alt resistance down, which, you know, is pretty good. So let's send Albedo first, and then Ainz, and let's see what happens here. Let's go ahead and make sure the animations are on for this. Alright, Albedo, I really hope you don't kill, because you're an AoE, but I don't know how... I didn't look at how much health Leon had when we clicked on his stats. I kind of wish that they had put Albedo into her armor mode for this, but yeah, that's a nitpick. 1 million damage, okay, that's pretty good. And then Ainz comes in, Bone Daddy himself. And let's see. How much does he do? He's gonna do a decent amount. Like, by no means is it low damage. We get 4.75. 4.75 million damage, which is a lot, right? This boss on Inferno 3 only has 2.7, so it's like we doubled that. But we're going to come back on turn 8, and I'm going to change the team up a little bit. Just one unit. We're going to take Albedo out, and we're going to figure out if she's actually contributing as much as she potentially could. Okay, we are back on turn 9 because we needed to get a little bit extra ult or protection gauge so we can get back up to the 9 stacks. Because we're at 7 stacks right now, so we needed that. But we swapped out Albedo for Dark Shinsha, who, alongside having the dark buff and the dark resistance down, is also stacking crit resistance down on the enemy. So we are passively lowering his ability to take crits as well. So we can do a few things here. Let's go ahead and reset, I think, everything up front. That way I can get that orb change done right there, and we'll be looking pretty good. Not that it actually matters, now that I think about it, so let's just do it anyways. Let's just do it anyways. Boom. And then we'll bring Milim in here for Nabe, and we'll use her alt buff again, and then we'll bring in Shinsha. Now that it's past turn 8, that dark buff is the 70% instead of 50%. So here, we're just going to use everything. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. There we go. We just don't want to use the alt swap ability. So what we are lacking here is a little bit of stacks from the Despair from Albedo, which means the alt resistance down is not as high, and then the Despair damage, again, it doesn't matter. But instead, we still now have 9 stacks of Rimuru. We've got 9% crit damage from the trait, 25% attack, guaranteed crit, magic attack, dark attack now, 70%, and then weakness strike. And then Leon now has 35% crit resistance down, dark resistance down, the 50% from Shizu, and then 35 alt resistance down from Despair, instead of like the 65 that we had earlier. So let's compare the damage now between what we did with Albedo on the team versus with Shinsha on the team. And we did 4.75 million last time. Let's see how much we do here. 4.9 million. So a slight increase in the damage output. All right. We did more with Shinsha, a first anniversary unit, than we did with Albedo, the unit that came out literally yesterday. Not even, well, a little over 12 hours ago, 15 hours ago or so. That does not bode well for Albedo. Alright, this time we took out Shinsha and we brought in the Octagram Lumi, a free-to-play unit, technically, quote-unquote, but she's giving an extra 80% permanent alt damage. So this time, instead of the 70% dark attack and the crit resistance down and the dark resistance down, we're just going with 80% additional alt on top of the 70 that Milim's getting. And let's see if this also hits in relatively the same 4.7 range that Albedo was helping us do. We got one more stack to put on, though. I don't think I have quite as many stacks, though, on Ainz. Let's take a look. We're short by 1 stack, actually. So I actually kind of want to push another turn and then get that other stack. That way everything is, relatively even, right? Hopefully he doesn't kill Shizu, though. Actually, let's just take Shizu out. Let's just not even open ourselves up to that fact. Alright. Technically, I did already use all the buffs, but, I mean, we're going to be able to reset all of them, technically. So we're doing a lot of damage probably on our normal orbs here. Yeah, 246k. And we'll just do it again. Because I thought about it, and then I was like, oh, wait, we're missing a stack. So here. Now we have the full stack, so we still don't need Lumi. Let's bring you up here now. Because, yeah, we don't need anything else. So yeah, boom, boom. Actually, no, we don't need that. We don't want to put that on, because that would be in excess right there. So there we go. We'll reapply all of our temporary buffs. We still have the permanent alt buff. Here's the 9th stack of Rimuru, and now we are at the same kind of place that we would be going into the other 2 tests. So do we hit the 4.7 or 4.9, somewhere around there, with Ainz? No, we do less. 4.1. Okay, that is actually quite a bit less damage. I was expecting more like 4.5. Alright, Lumi, not the best option. But, there you go. I mean, Lumi is free to play, quote-unquote. She is an older Octagram unit, even at the skill fusion, the 80% permanent alt. It's not quite good as Albedo's alt resistance down and her stun strike, but she is free. And then if we put Shinsha on, she does more damage than Albedo. And spoiler alert, if we replaced Milim with, or not Milim, but Lumi with Shizuka, we'd be doing like 7 million, because Shizuka's doing way too many things to even try and compare to Albedo. But that's the Overlord team. Let's put her on something else, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to do, but sure. Alright, this is what I got. We're going to go into the second anniversary stage 100 against Veldora. He works like the Tempered Edge, except he has half the AHAP, so we don't need to do quite as much. Stern of Spirit and Wholehearted Devotion. Not great teams to utilize a stun strike. And also, a lot of the stages that are out right now, you can't stun, right? So it's like, the new stages you can stun, but those come out once a month, right? With every meta, and then they go away, and then they come back, 6 months from now. So there's always like one stage where you can stun, which is what we just got done doing, right? But all the old stages that have come out and have been in here since, forever, like that, you can't stun those stages unless you bring Light Lumi. And it's like, what's the freaking point then at that point? There is no point. And then you add on top of that, so not only are there a very limited number of stages you can stun right now, where you can test out a number of different teams, but also the restriction of Stern and Spirit and a Wholehearted Devotion makes it so much worse, because you have a limited pool of units, and a more limited pool of good units by that means. So it's like, what are we doing? And then the Despair is like, oh, yeah, 500 damage. Awesome, I'd love to see it. 5% ult resistance down. If you can get a number of stacks on it, then yeah, sure, that's fine. But if you're not running a reset team, eventually that skill is going to cost 100 points. And I'll tell you what, it ain't worth 100 points. It sure as hell is not worth 100 points. So let's do a stack here. We're running this kind of makeshift Stern of Spirit team. Light Hinata is light and magic, and she's on Stern of Spirit, so she will get the stun strike. Albus is here to give us the Pierce, so we can activate the stacking buffs from Shuna, and this is just a jank-ass team for, after everything's said and done, and we don't have enough points to do anything, so I'm going to send these greens. And then hopefully we can start getting blues next turn. Alright, that's a little better. We can just bring Rimuru in for that. And keep it nice and cheap. So Rimuru for Albus, convert all of his orbs, and then we'll bring in Albedo, and we'll start getting the Despair stacks on, and as many as we reasonably can. And this is what we're reduced to. It's either you have Albedo for the new beatdown, or she's actually kind of useless in the entirety of the rest of the game. Like, does that make it worth summoning for? Is that what you want out of this, guys? Is this what you're looking for? Because I don't think it is. Alright. Okay, that works, technically. You can come in for Albedo. We have 140 points, so we do this. And then 45, and then 25. Yeah, okay, so another stack of Despair. Cool. We're gonna have to send this all up because Hinata's not an EX character. We don't need to hold it for anything. Albedo comes out. And then we'll do this, and then we'll do that. And then we'll bring Albus back in for Rimuru, keep him in the back. And then, yeah, we're... Welcome to the team, guys. Such a great team. When's the last time you saw Hinata's ult? When's the last time you saw Disintegration from Light 1.0 Hinata? Maybe if you're a new player and she's all you got, maybe, but... I can count the number of times I used Disintegration last year on one hand. Okay. On the plus side, we are doing decent damage. And, I mean, we could have gone into Tempered Edge, but we would have just brought the Light team. But then if that's the case, we would have just brought Light Raphael, who's literally doing the same thing that Albedo is, but he's the DPS character. Albedo is an AoE support. She ain't doing what we need her to do here. Can we get out of that? I don't think we can get out of that. Well, we could. Yeah, okay, yeah, we can do this still. So Rimuru, come in here. Gonna forego some orbs for Hinata because she doesn't need much. We'll do this, and then we'll use his orb change. and then we'll bring Albedo in. And do we have enough to use another stack of her? We don't. It's too expensive now. Look at that. Who'da thunk? Alright. So, I'm going to start the outro, because, I mean, we're just watching death here. So, Albedo. Disgustingly limited. There is not a lot of good places that you can actually legitimately use her. Except for the current beatdown battle, and that is just not a good enough reason to summon for her. It's just not. Please hit that Albus. Alright, cool. And then you can come in for Shuna. And then we'll convert. Right, well, convert. Yeah, convert. Another stack of despair. So it's like I strongly advise people not to summon for her unless Albedo is your waifu and you care more about waifu over meta, which, you know, it is totally fine, right? This is probably the only Albedo that's going to be put in the game, and it is very, very unfortunate that she is so disturbingly limited and not good and just not useful for the team. I saw a comment, whether it was in my Discord or something, but someone likened Albedo to Vengeance, Veldora, and Shuna. Weird picks and unnecessary for the team build that Vengeance was running, because Vengeance is a defensive meta, right? You wanted, you know, guard and the ceiling and the physical resistance from Yom and Raphael, and then you bring in 2 damage support characters to a team that is all defense focused with no good attack stats, and it's like, what are you doing here? I feel like they've done the same thing with Albedo, where the despair, yeah, it matches the theme of the meta, because, you know, Ainz has despair, so yeah, fine, sure. But then her stun, it's like, we didn't need a stun. We didn't need a stun in this beatdown, because we are not in danger of dying. This is not like I'm gonna nuke you for 300,000 damage from the boss, and you're like, I gotta stun him on this turn, otherwise bad things are gonna happen. Like, that's not how this beatdown battle has been running. So it's just unnecessary to require a stun on that team, and you have better damage options from a 1.5 old units than you do the brand new unit that came out literally yesterday. It's just, she's in a weird spot, and I do not understand their decision. But I'm sure there was a decision. I'm sure there certainly was. Alright, we'll do that, and we'll bring Shuna in, and we'll just do that. And then we'll nuke next turn, and I think we'll have enough damage? Quote-unquote? I think? Yeah, we'll do 1 more stack of despair. 4 stacks of despair, so that's 20% ult resistance down. Awesome. Ooh, we do not get enough. Damn. Well, okay, we don't need Hinata up front. Hold on. Let's just do this. We'll get the full hand of blues. There we go. That's what we're gonna do. We saved ourselves. Okay. So yeah, Albedo. Not a great unit. I don't know why I know why she exists, but I don't know why her kit is just so bad. I highly doubt they will change it, you know, after the fact. They've never done that for a unit thus far. So I do not expect things to change here. Let's do the alt buff, water resistance down, and then we'll bring Albus in for Shuna. And Albus will activate the Pierce, and then we'll get the Stun and Stun Strike for Stern Spirit Wholehearted Devotion. We'll put another stack of Vault Resistance down on, because we got the points for it. And we'll see if Hinata can kill this Veldora with 1 more stack. I actually don't know how much health he has. 357. Can we do 357,000 damage? Can we? Let's find out. Let's do the normal orbs first, and then we'll send the ult. 16, 18, 18, 56k. Alright, I think we're okay. 330. Alright, there we go. The Albedo showcase I'm sorry she's not as good as people wanted her to be. I'm sorry I didn't show her off in more places, but there's honestly not a lot of places I can bring her because either you can't stun or the nuker's not going to be on Stern of Spirit or Wholehearted Devotion, so there's no friggin' point. Let me know what you guys think, but that's it for me. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you all later.